Advent means arrival. During Advent, we celebrate that God draws near in the arrival of Jesus.
The thing about addiction is, for me, like a lot of my porn use was a way to cope with like insecurities about my own self-worth and just kind of different anxieties around that. And instead of dealing with those emotions and trying to work through them, I would just use pornography to numb myself and just not kind of deal with any of those issues. And then I would wonder why I can't overcome this. And I'm like, am I just not a good enough Christian? Am I not praying hard enough? Why isn't God giving me the strength to overcome this temptation? I think sometimes especially when you're hiding or running away from God in a season of that or a lifetime of that, God will he's staying with you the entire time. For me, what ended up happening was it was after a major breakup and I wasn't dealing with emotions very well. I was getting further and further into a porn addiction. And it reached this point where I was just very comfortable with it. But it was people in my life like my dad or some other great men around me that were able to say like, hey, I think this is an issue. I think I know these places. I know like some groups. I know some like ways to help get out of this addiction. I was just finally at a place in my life where I was, I think, just broken down enough that I was able to like, all right, God, I'm willing to try this out. I'm willing to listen. I think one of the ways I really felt God draw closer to me is through other people, especially through a lot of the recovery groups I became a part of. The one that I've really loved is Celebrate Recovery. I've been going to that every week, and they have these great discussion groups. I meet these men every week, and I've gotten to really know a lot of them. And they're this group, this loving group where I'm able to just fully share all my insecurities and all my struggles. And having that, I think, is so very important because just with addiction, I don't think you can do it on your own at all. God calls us to walk it out with other people. Something that anybody going through addiction should hear. It's an easy lie for the enemy to tell us that in this addiction, we are failing as Christians. The reality is that God knows every single time that we're going to slip up and go back to our addiction already. He already knows every single time we're going to fail and turn away from him. And he's still here and ready and willing to work with us to become the kind of children of God that he sees us as. Every single time that happens, God delights in us coming back. And God delights in the ability to use those moments of weakness to find what's really going on in our hearts and dig that up and fix that, because he's far more interested in the person we are to become. I think looking back over my journey of recovery, I can just so delight in the fact that God draws near to anybody like in that weakness. I think God draws near so frequently when we are searching after him, not when we're perfect. Just knowing God more, in these whole life of feeling like I'm drawing away from God, God being there and being like, I am showing you that I'm here and I was here all along. And that is something that I get to celebrate this year.